Bloomberg Audio Studios. Podcasts, radio, news.
The Stock Movers Podcast, your roundup of companies making moves in the stock market, harnessing the power of Bloomberg data.
Let's take a look at some of the stocks on the move today here in Europe. I'm Caroline Hepker alongside Valerie Teitel, and we're joined by Bloomberg's breaking news editor, Chloe Millay. Good morning, Chloe.
Good morning.
Let's start off by talking about Burberry. I had to do a quick Google search of a Burberry trench coat, so I can go anywhere from a conservative £1,100 up to a whopping nearly 10 grand for a Burberry trench coat. Tell us about the results from the business and why the trench coat is quite important now.
Yeah, absolutely. So Burberry had quite a good report this morning. So the sales did fall over the quarter, but crucially much less than expected. And that really pushed up the stock this morning. It seems that there's the ongoing turnaround that started last year under the new CEO is starting to bear fruit. So you've mentioned trench coats. That revival, that kind of turnaround is hinging on that kind of return to Britishness. So the trench coat, the scarves that have really made Burberry really famous, and moving away from kind of expensive handbags, that foray into other things that have not really resonated as much with customers. So that's quite positive. That's pushed up the stock higher this morning. There are obviously some negatives as well. So the CEO said that people were still not really shopping in the UK, and he said that obviously tariffs and the uncertainty that comes with that were still a big headwind. So far, Burberry had been kind of on the tougher end of that luxury sector, alongside Gucci, for example, kind of struggling to revive those sales. But it seems that now the plan to kind of turn around the business is on track. It's not completely out of the woods, but definitely on the right path.
All right, let's go over to basic resources, where the steelmaker Salzgitter is losing nearly a quarter of its value this morning.
Yeah, so profit warning from the steel producer Salzgitter this morning. It fell the most in almost 3 years. It said that there's little sign of any kind of recovery over the second half of the year, and it slashed its 4-year guidance. That also took down the shares of other steel producers like a bigger name, ArcelorMittal and Acerinox. Analysts are flagging that the European steel sector is facing quite a lot of weakness. There's loads of different reasons for that. The first one is obviously exposure to the automotive and construction sector, which are quite weak and are facing a downturn at the moment. There's volatile energy prices that are also weighing on this, and of course all the uncertainties that come with the trade war. Obviously steel is one of those sectors that was singled out by Trump for tariffs, and it has suffered as a result.
Okay, and kind of related to this, in the industrials, well, it's categorized as in the industrials, if you break down the US stock 600, is Saab, Sweden's Saab, seeing a big jump in its share price today with European defence spending. Why?
Yeah, so Saab in Sweden is having a good time this morning. It raised its forecast for organic revenue, so it's planning on growth to reach as high as 20% for this year. So it's really, really high. Obviously, that's off the back, of course, of really strong defence spending in Europe, as you just mentioned, and that's brightening the outlook for all kinds of European defence companies across the region. Its fighter jet program in particular has seen some momentum recently. There's been a rise in orders from different countries, so there's a boost there. Obviously, the translation of kind of spending and defence planning over to procurement takes some time. It doesn't happen overnight, but it definitely is lifting kind of investor sentiment in the sector. We're probably expecting good results from the rest of that industry going further into the earnings season. We've got Thales, BAE, Rheinmetall coming in the next few weeks, so we'll be keeping an eye on those and expecting good results there.
The Stock Movers Podcast from Bloomberg Radio. Check back with us throughout the day for the latest roundup of companies making news on Wall Street. And for the latest market-moving headlines, listen to Bloomberg Radio live. Catch us on YouTube, Bloomberg.com, and on Apple CarPlay and Android Auto with the Bloomberg Business app.